Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 6. We'll present our material about teaching short story during COVID-19 pandemic. Firstly, I want to introduce our group member. Our group member consists of Dina Magdalena, Elia Marcelita, Julissa Frifepti, and me, Ramadhani, as a moderator. Next slide will be read by Dina Magdalena. Dina Magdalena, time is yours.
Introduction. During the COVID-19 pandemic, offline learning has stopped to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The pandemic has made people familiar with new digital applications and online activities, including teaching and learning. Learning short story in English class also get the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. In this presentation, our group would like to tell about how to teach short story in English class during the COVID-19 pandemic. Strategies for teaching short story. Here are some strategies for teaching short story. The first one, adaptation. A useful way to get students to think about genre specific is to ask them to adapt a short story into a short play. The second is alternative ending. Have students write an alternate ending to the story and explain the critical difference between their ending and the author's. And the third, back to the future. Many short stories may seem old to the students, and they will often preface their interpretative comments with the phrase back then or words back in the olden days. And the next is class consciousness. Have students find example of a character's class as compared to the other characters. The next is close reading passages. Below are some worksheets that might be assigned to the student for homework or a in-class group work. One is text-specific but could easily be adapted for a different text. The next is highlighting character. Short stories use different techniques to set up characters than novels or drama. And the last is highlighting plot. Plot is also condensed in short story, and because of its small scope, it is often easier for students to see and understand how plot is working in a short story than in a longer work. Back to the moderator.
Okay. And the next slide will be read by Julissa Frifepti. Julissa Frifepti, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Teaching short story in pandemic era. In teaching short story in pandemic era, there are not much change, but there are some different methods that apply to maximize teaching and learning activity in pandemic era. First, teaching and learning activity that usually did in classroom, now we do it via virtual classroom by some apps such as Zoom, Google Meet, and etc. Second, the short story that was shared by hard copy now is shared by soft copy, and we can open it in mobile phone, laptop, or PC. And the last, short story text can be shared through application such as WhatsApp and the chat column in the Zoom application. There are 10 tips that can be used for teaching short stories. First, enthusiasm is continuous. Second, encourage personal discovery. 3, think carefully about the material. 4, read each story more than once. 5, embrace opportunities for cross-cultural discussion. 6, conduct a debate on a central theme. 7, enhance critical thinking skills through literary analysis. 8, make vocabulary stick. 9. Demonstrate the authentic use of grammar. And 10. Assign writing activities that stretch students' limits.
Okay, next slide will be read by me. Short story, The Necklace. The Necklace by Guy de Maupassant is a story of a middle-class lady named Matilda. She was born in a clerk family and was married to a clerk named M. Loisel. She was very pretty but was dissatisfied in life because of her poverty. Once she borrowed a necklace from her friend Madame Forrester and lost it at a party. To replace the necklace, she had to live in a miserable life. The tale is about how her desire to have more led to her ruin. Next slide, please. The target of learning. The story is suitable for senior high school student because if it if it used in elementary or junior high school in Indonesia, we think the term that used is too difficult and hard to understand. There are a lot of new vocabularies like word astonishment in the story. And the next slide will be read by Elia Marcelita. Elia Marcelita, time is yours.
In this case, we as the teacher can help student by asking the following question. A. What is the social function of the text? B. Who use it and why? C. What is the topic? D. Who are the participants? E. How do they relate to each other in this situation? F. Is the language spoken or written? G. What is the function of each part of the text? H. What are the language features? I. How can we find out what the text is about? J. What is the relationship between the writer and the reader? Next slide, please. Number 3. Number 3, we provide opportunities for students to implement their understanding and ability to produce text from the type of text being touched. At this stage, students begin to contribute to the preparation of all example of the type of target text, and the teacher gradually reduces his contribution to the preparation of the text, while students are increasingly able to control the writing of text type independently. After that, students will be asked to do self assessment and peer assessment activities. However, the teacher will also provide an assessment of student writing by discussing it together in class. And the last one is student compiling text independently and student performs being used for assessment. Thank you. Back to moderator.
And that's all from Group 6 presentation. And sorry if there's anything wrong. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.